Howdy folks, it's Zach, and welcome to Chapter 3 of Knights of the Fallen Empire, and my walkthrough using my Jedi Guardian. Anyway, if you were here for Chapter 2, then you saw us getting captured by the Zakulian Empire and being thrown into Carbonite. Now, thematically, this is a change of status now for your hero character. In the 1 through 60 leveling process, you're a hero, but you're on the hero's journey. So you're starting off at your starting planet, you're gathering companions, gathering influence, getting more powerful as the story progresses, and by the time that you finish through the Revan expansion, you're a hardened, confirmed hero of the Republic and the Sith Empire. Like, whichever one it's going to be, you're either the Battle Master of the Jedi Order, or you're a Dark Council member, etc. So what this has done thematically is now you're the underdog. And this was actually a really good decision by BioWare, because it's really difficult to write a story for a guy who is at the top of his game, and it's way, way cooler to write a story for a guy who has to climb his way through the ranks. Here we have two of the new companion stars that you have for the storyline from 60 to 65. This is Lana Beniko. If you were around for the Revan expansion, you can definitely see that visually she has changed a lot. And over here we have T701. And T701 is actually, in my opinion, one of the most important companions in the game, and here's why. In Knights of the Old Republic, the first game that BioWare published, they gave you a T7 type droid that was your companion as you played through that game and the Sith Lords, the sequel game. And so it's one of the reasons that if you were here for chapters 1 and 2, and you heard me say that the Guardian, or the Jedi Knight, excuse me, is the most canon feeling of the classes, that is one of the reasons why. Is T7 actually is one of the Jedi Knight companions in this game. So as you play through the Jedi Knight storyline and you have T7 as a companion, it just kind of feels like he is the natural successor to what has happened in Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. Now, here at the 60 level storyline, everybody gets T701 as their companion, because everybody now becomes the Outlander. So everybody now, as a player, regardless of what your storyline was from 1 through 60, now takes over the role of the Outlander from here on out. I thought this was thematically a great way for every character to feel like they are the official hero character now. But it's something that I did kind of want to point out, because I feel like wherever T701 probably ends up going, that is like the torch being passed to the next story owner. Right here you can see Lana Beniko trying to open up this door with the Force, and this is going to be important later, and I'll just remember, put a pin in this, that I'm going to come back to that. But what I was saying about Lana, she was in the expansion, the Revan expansion, and visually they've changed her hairstyle, her armor style, and she was known in the Revan expansion as being kind of a sneaky spy master type person, a Force user, but one who worked way more behind the scenes. Now at 60 through 65, she is, for anybody who did not play through 1 through 60, she is one of the primary love interests. So they really changed the way she looked. They really tried to make her look a lot more mature and a lot more approachable to a wider variety of gamers. Gone is the weird bangs and bob that she kind of had going for her in the Revan expansion that made her look really young. Now she looks like she is definitely matured quite a bit and been seasoned. Same voice actress, but a very different personality. Here they're also reintroducing Valen. Valen didn't get a lot of screen time in the original promotional material for this expansion. It mostly focused in on Thexan, Arkin, and Valkorion. So a lot of what we're seeing here in this chapter is basically one long chase sequence. This is you being chased, getting out of prison, and also giving Valen some screen time so you can kind of see where she fits into the plot and what her character looks like. Also, it's going to be exploring at least 2 of your new companions, one of which was the aforementioned Lana Beniko, and the next one they're going to introduce in just a few seconds. So, Lana, for those players out there who have not had a chance to romance any of their companions from the 1 through 60 game, Lana is definitely the female love interest, and they really set her up to have a really powerful impact on your storyline. She is the one who raced into an enemy empire, she is the one who's been searching for you this entire time, and she is the one who found you and actually released you from Carbonite. A lot of that is going to lead players to want to feel very endeared to her. For me on my Jedi Guardian, though, I'm very stuck on Kira Carson, who was my love interest from 1 through 60, and I want to keep Kira Carson as my love interest. I've played other BioWare games, and sometimes if you start start messing around and flirting with too many characters, that's going to come to a head and make characters butt heads. So I flirt with Lana maybe once or twice, but then I kind of keep it on the, I kind of push it to the side and say, I'm going to save myself for Kier Carson. However, I'm going to do a Sith run-through probably as well. If I record it, you'll see me go ahead and romance Lana Beniko, most likely with either my Sith Assassin or my Sith Sork. Mostly because I never felt like Ashara Zavaros really worked very well as a romantic interest for the Sith Sorcerer or the Sith Assassin. It just never quite felt right for them. Also, you can see here too, I film my videos and then I do the narration. So at this point, and then I think I was actually kind of getting tired, but you can still kind of see me swinging around here on my Jedi Guardian. The thing I want to point out, guys, is I know somebody's going to watch my video and say like, hey, you say you play Vigilance Guardian. That's not the best rotation for a Vigilance Guardian. You look like you're just basically mashing buttons. There's always somebody out there who says that. And I'm going to tell you straight up, sometimes you are correct. I do love Vigilance Guardian, and they have a very, very strong rotation. But for the purposes of these videos, most of the enemies that you're going to fight are trash. And so what I'm mostly doing is I'm going in and just laying out some of my higher speed, higher damage abilities just to clear through them so I can go into the next fight. One of the great things about a Jedi Guardian is if you go ahead and select the right utilities, they can basically just bounce from fight to fight to fight to fight to fight really quickly with no real downtime, and with a good healing companion, you basically are able to just kind of speed through the game. It's one of the reasons why I feel like that class is very strong if you go ahead and play them. Also, they just had a quick glimpse of KOTFE, one of the new companions in the game, and right now we're going to focus in a little bit more on Lana, and in Chapter 4 we're going to explore a little bit more about who KOTFE is. So this is still a chase sequence, you're still on the big chase, and if you just saw Valen rip through that door, that was what I was talking about earlier. Lana kind of struggled with it, Valen just completely rips it apart, and that is thematically a way that BioWare's devs could just basically say, like, here's how powerful Valen is in comparison to Lana Beniko. Lana Beniko struggled, she's a Force user, that's about her level, but Valen had no trouble, she's actually very strong. Anyway, also, I want you to take a look at this environment here, because this is something we haven't actually seen very much of in the Old Republic. So, before we were in the Carbonite Freezing holding grounds, and now we're in an office-type building. And if you played the CZ-198 expansion, you saw a little bit of it, which was kind of cool, and here they kind of expand on it. And what I love about it is that BioWare has really tried very hard to make a new set of areas that look very, very distinguishable from each other in very new ways. So, instead of making, huge PvP expansion and a raid expansion, they really just focus on the story, but they want to make these story areas look really good. I encourage players, if you're going through it, look out the windows, take your time, really take in the sights, because when you see that area, you're probably not going to see that type of area again. And they're really beautiful. These plants that are in the corners here, you can kind of see me as I scrolled and panned with my camera there. Things like that, just decorating this office area, these little touches, they just bring this area a little bit more to life. Anyway, so my Jedi Guardian here, you can see him just kind of slamming through these guys. He's going to fight what I would kind of consider to be the sub-boss of this area as soon as he goes to these doors. But look at, when you're playing this, look side to side and look at this area of these gigantic spanning towers that go above the cloud lines and the sun generators. It is just truly a beautiful game. At this point, there's that sun generator I was talking about. Also, the Zakulian walker that I'm fighting here, that is actually an attainable mount you can get in the game. I actually have 2 of them right now. So if you like the way that these things look and you think that'd be fun to ride around in, just keep in the back of your brain, if you do the Star Fortress on heroic mode, that is a mount you may be able to attain. So here we are, we're going into another cutscene here, and again, adding on to the chase scene elements. But one of the things that I liked about being on the run is, again, that feeling of a change of status. Also, with the companions in 1 through 60, you basically get an entire planet and conversations with these companions to kind of get to know who they are. But that would take way too long. So in the storyline for this, BioWare has done a really good job of trying to show these characters not just an interaction with you, but interaction with each other, which I felt was a very good way to go, and I kind of wish they had done that now through 1 through 60. So you're going to start seeing, once these characters are introduced, how they fight with each other, what they disagree about, and you siding with one may have negative impacts on the others. This plays into the affection system and how well they're going to fight for you. So it makes it feel like your choices matter, especially because if you're soloing a lot of content like I do, then you really want a very strong, effective companion by your side, and you will develop and share certain points of views and make some companions more valuable than others. So we just left the office area behind, and now we are starting to go into the SkyDroid production facility. And one of the things that I like that BioWare did in this expansion was to create these Sky Troopers, which are droids that have rocket packs attached to their backs, and you've seen them now in a few different cutscenes. The magic of it, for me, is that they have dynamic entrances. They jump out of those glass containers. They come out of packing crates. They jump through skylights and windows, and they just basically aren't standing around waiting for you to run into them like a lot of bad guys are. They have a dynamic entrance sequence. For me, I like that. I like that in games. I don't want to see just bad guys just hanging around waiting for me to walk up and start hitting them. I'd rather see something with a dynamic entry. And for a storyline where you're being chased, I actually thought that this worked really well. The first time I played through this, I was so into this moment because it felt like around every turn something was going to jump out and start fighting you. And that was a great feeling. So also I want to make a note too. I said this in chapters 1 and 2, but I'll say it again here. If you're looking to do a speed run through this game, you really can't miss with the Jedi Guardian, especially in Vigilance spec. But if you do want to choose one of the other classes, my other one that I would recommend is either a Sharpshooter Gunslinger or a Marksman spec Sniper. Both of those classes have insane AoEs and a lot of punch behind their movements. The reason I chose to do this video with my Guardian instead of either my Gunslingers or my Sniper was mostly just because I'd already gone through the storyline, and once you've gone through it, unfortunately you can't repeat it to record it, so you have to do it with an entirely new character, and this character was still kind of waiting in the wings. But I do like, for the purposes of recording this video, the Jedi Guardian is a very dynamically fun character to use for video making purposes. My Sniper and my Gunslingers, they probably wouldn't have been quite as interesting because they hang back at range and just shoot at things. And even though the animations are really fun and it's a very effective DPS class, with my Guardian, definitely there's something to be said about force leaps and saber throws, coming in and just smashing up into guys, doing things like a mad dash right there. It just looks fantastic. And so if you want to be a part of the Star Wars universe and join this game, I do recommend starting with the Knight class, just because A, they're tough, they play really well, but also too, you're gonna feel like you are in it. You are a Star Wars character, and that is an amazing feeling in this game. It's something that the developers have tried really hard to make happen for you. God, I love this class. Yeah, just something I mentioned earlier. Vigilance combines dot spec and upfront damage, really strong, powerful, like brute force attacks. And usually as I'm clearing out this trash, I'm basically just picking whichever one move I'm ready for. So I'm not really as focused on dot spreading and perfect rotations as I am just cleaning these guys up. Okay, so in this cutscene, you're going to see Lana and my Jedi Guardian, Zach. They're coming up to the sun generator that Valen pulled out of order, and you're going to have to make a light side, dark side choice, the big one for Chapter 3, which is, do you save the people of this area, or do you let that sun generator go Nova to cover your escape? This is going to come back to haunt you, folks. I'm just giving you guys a pro tip here. If you choose to let these people die, you choose the dark side option, you will save time because you'll just jump right to the next part and beat the story. But you can see KOTFE here arguing with my Jedi Knight, just throwing out there that you can't let those people die. If you choose the light side option, you're going to have to do a few extra steps before you can finish this chapter. But Koth, as far as his approval and affection ratings go, he will remember this moment one way or the other. If you choose to save these people, he's going to like you more. If you choose not to, he's going to like you less. And unlike most approval or disapproval options, this one is one of the ones that gets recorded. So now in the new character companion windows, you can see a description of who that character is, and underneath it, there's bylines of important moments to your relationship with this character now. And this is totally new for this new expansion. They haven't done this before. And this is one of those moments that is going to stick with Koth if you choose to go against him and let these people die. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but I do appreciate the fact that BioWare is making a note of when these things happen so you can keep track of which characters have made which choices. I have almost 20 characters on the Harbinger. I have at least 11 still left on Berrigan Colony. I have at least one on, I think, the Shadowlands. So for me, being able to keep track of like what character made which choices with which companion helps me a lot as I move forward through the story. Also, not all the chapters have been released yet, and I have a very strong suspicion that in this entire expansion, that a lot of this is going to work like some of the other BioWare games, where these choices are going to come back to haunt you if you make the wrong ones. And I shouldn't say the wrong ones, but what choices you make will have a consequence later on down the road, both good or bad. So here you can see this incredible lightning arcs. This is one of those areas that I would almost encourage everybody just to choose the light side option, just to see this set on their own computer screen, because it's absolutely gorgeous. This is the kind of area I would expect to fight a boss in. Really vast landscape, beautiful, beautiful animations on those lightning arcs and electricity arcs. I mean, you really feel like you are in the middle of this reactor, and it is going nuts. And I love that feeling. That there's nothing in the game before this that really has that same feeling to it, and it's something that I definitely appreciated. It definitely adds a little bit to the excitement and the energy and the pacing, because you can see here I'm racing as I get from point to point, because with all that animation going, it really feels like there's some urgency. Whereas a lot of times you might get a critical mission from 1 through 60 and just kind of be like, I'm not really feeling it. You know, I don't feel like people are dying. I don't feel like people are in peril. Why should I be racing around for this? But with all that lightning arcing around and me constantly wondering, is some of that going to hit me or toast my character? Is that something that could possibly one-shot me? What's this crap on the ground? Sky troopers are coming in. You kind of keep a fast pace just because you feel like the environment encourages you to do so. And also, if you look at that scenic vista behind you, it really gives the illusion that there's a huge depth to the entire area. And also, you can see other sun generators out there. So, as a little note, as you meet the Zakulian people, a lot of them feel really arrogant. They feel like they look at the Republic and the Sith Empire as almost these like backwater hicks. I mean, they really treat us as if we're uncultured and savages. And as you see the technology that these people have at their disposal, you really kind of start to understand why they feel so arrogant. They really are leaps and bounds ahead of the technology of the Republic and the Sith Empire. And it's one of the plot points as far as when you form up your alliance that you are going to have to tackle some of their superior technology and try to figure out how to get past some of their defenses. Not excluding which the Eternal Fleet that we've already seen, and the Star Fortresses, which we haven't seen yet. So I chose to save the reactor, and so this whole area of the city is going to go dark, trying to cover our escape. Koth really likes that. Lana really didn't. I'll see how that plays out, in later chapters once they get released. But I will say, for the most part, Lana can still be on your side and still kind of wooed if you are flirting with her and trying to romance her. So it wasn't as detrimental, but Koth, he really kind of holds that as a chip on his shoulder in several different conversations if you let these people die. So I leave that up to you. As always, I encourage all players, play the way that you want to play. Make the decisions that you want to make. There's no such thing as the best choice or the right choice in this game. There's only things that will let you see more or do more or take shortcuts or inform your character. So at the heart of this game, it is an RPG. It is a role-playing game. So my gunslinger, for instance, he is predominantly light side. He makes usually good choices. There's been a few times where he's made some dark ones, but for this expansion, there are times where he is actually afraid of Valkorian's power, so will say no based on that, or he will accept it because he might feel like he just does not have what it takes to finish off this fight. Rooted through his character, that this might be a time where he maybe succumbs to what would be considered a dark side option. So play the way you like. Play what you feels like the right moment. Explore a little bit. No conversations locked in stone until that cutscene is ended, so you always have the option to escape and back out. So this actually here, I want to point out, is the boss battle for the end of Chapter 3. And if you look, all these crates around here all contain droids, so you can kind of keep track of how many you're fighting by how many are open, and you can see how many are left by how many are closed. But if you look, as I kind of pan around the room occasionally, that there's these little blue clickable terminals. That, for you as a new player, is the visual cue that you're about to enter into a boss fight. So if you're in solo mode on just about anything and you see those types of terminals, those are healing terminals. If you click on them, you and your companion get a huge amount of heals, and then that particular terminal will go on cooldown, and you can click on one of the other ones if you still need more healing. But if you see that in a room, chances are you're about to fight a boss. So just kind of keep that in the back of your brain as you continue through this expansion, that's there for you. Now, I'm pretty well geared. Lana Beniko, she doesn't have a whole lot of affection for me at this point, but I don't really need it. My Jedi Guardian's well geared enough, and he's pretty tough that, with her just being in heal stance, I'm pretty much just wiping the walls of those guys. In one of my later chapters, I actually end up doing one of the boss fights with a different companion who's in DPS mode, and didn't need any healing through that either. The Jedi Guardian has a really great move, a defensive cooldown that allows him to get healed as he gets attacked once his health hits a certain percentage and he activates it. So again, another great reason that I kind of pitched the Jedi Guardian over, say, the Jedi Sentinel is that they have just a lot of tools at their disposal to keep them going in a fight that make them very tough defensively. So here we see Koth. He crashed his ship. That is leaving us kind of in a precarious spot, and with all this mess behind him, note that he uses the word "we." We'll be there, we're doing this, etc. He actually has one of your new companions with him that they're going to introduce in just a little bit, but I don't want to give away that reveal. So here we have more Sky Troopers jumping in, and we're going to tackle those a little bit, and then we're going to see kind of what I would consider to be the next sub-boss of the level, or possibly the true boss of the level, depending on how you look at it. But it gives you another chance to kind of see what the town looks like based on your choices. If you chose light side, then all these buildings now look dark. There's no lights that are visible from the sides. I love this moment too. By the way, you guys, pro tip, if you have a knockback, when those guys are coming up over the edge there, say like the trooper or the mercenary, what you can do is you can pop that knockback while they're in the air and just toss those guys over the ledge. And it's one of the things that's really fun about this game, is that the physics engine allows you to kill bad guys by force pushing them over ledges, and sometimes that can save you an entire fight if you do it at the right time and just kill people outright. So just kind of keep an eye on the physics though. But in this next fight here too, I do want to give you guys a heads up. The two guys that you're about to fight, you're going to see my Jedi run up the ramp, and he's going to clear out these trash, and then we're going to have two bad guys appear. What goes around comes around. So even though you can use physics to knock people over edges, physics can be used against you to knock you over edges. So I do have to remind people sometimes in Knights of the Old Republic, if you came out of, say, World of Warcraft or DCU Online, you don't see these quite as much, but in Star Wars you're going to see it a lot, where force pulls, force pushes, concussion grenades, where there's just things that are going to knock you around some, and the platforms that you may be on may have a drop-off that leads off to infinity. That usually means instant death for you. So on this platform here, I'm about to fight these two guys, Novo and his partner, and they're force users, so they can do lift, pull, push, etc. And the only time I've ever died in this fight was the very first time I came on this platform on my Jedi Sentinel, and he was pretty much ripping through just about everything. I got a little overconfident, and these guys did their knockbacks in sequence. So one guy went, did his 2, the other guy went, did his 2, and knocked me over an edge, and I died. I was pretty pissed because I just felt like that was such a noob mistake on my part. So I'm giving you that to you guys as a tip here. So you can see where these guys on the edge, and I let them jump to me where I'm in the center, all right? And then I keep fighting to keep the center. So just like if you're an MMA fighter in the octagon trying to hold on to the center of the ring, do that here too, and you should be just fine. Also, I have Heroic Moment, but I don't pop it here in this fight. I have all the options to go ahead and use every attack that you have available in Heroic Moment. If you feel like you need it, you need a little extra boost, go ahead and use it. It also provides extra healing for this fight. If you want to prep for this fight, you can even put Lana in, say, attack mode, pop Heroic Moment, and then attack these guys. But it's definitely not something you need, but Heroic Moment is on a much shorter cooldown now, so if you want it, it is available to you. Also, as a little note, Novo and his partner here, you're going to see Novo a few times, and I kind of like this moment here where you either egg Lana on to kill this guy or you ask her to save him. Light side, dark side choice again. Lana will disapprove if you leave this guy live, but it's up to you. However you want to play that, guys. I will tell you this, though. You will see Novo again, one of these two guys. He does come back in a later chapter, so it's interesting to see how that plays out, depending on whether you killed his partner or not. Anyway, we're about to wrap up this chapter here and the end of this chase sequence. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it thus far, and hopefully by watching my Guardian fight, you get an idea of what this chapter is going to look like. Plays out a little differently if you are one of the other character classes, mostly just because of how you kill things, but the storyline remains the same. So we have Valen. She's making her last entrance for this chapter, backed up by a few of the Sky Troopers. And we're obviously at the edge of the cliff. It's a very cliched, heroic moment of, you know, what am I going to do? And of course I choose, like, yeah, Lana, I'm not going anywhere. But in the end, it's not really going to be up to either of us. You know, but again, to show Valen's power here, they're going to have her do some things that would take most Jedi a lot of concentration, and she'll just be able to just do it in an instant. So she's definitely, in my opinion, I think she's going to end up being one of the big bads for the later chapters. You know already she's going to be a major stopgap and a boss at some point, but I have a strong suspicion she may end up being the uber bad at the end. So here we have again another little cliched moment of the flying vehicle and us hanging over the edge, and they introduce your last companion that they're going to show for this chapter, HK55. A lot of people stood up and cheered for this one. So if you played Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, you met HK47, who is a staple character. He's an assassin droid with a lot of very funny dialogue and in a strange way very endearing. And HK47 makes appearances in this game as well, tied to the Revan storylines. So if you've played through that, then you recognize what the HK series droids are all about. There's also an optional companion you can unlock, an HK51 droid. I have him unlocked on most of my characters, and is a completely optional character to have. If you have HK51 or Treek or Nico unlocked by the start of one of the chapters, you'll see them all in a cutscene, which is kind of nice. Little, you know, bonus for players who do have them unlocked, but by no means are necessary to have. So that's wrapping up this chapter here. This is the end of this part of the chase sequence and the end of chapter 3. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you are enjoying my page, go ahead and subscribe, like my page, and if you want to jump in on the action, and you heard me say this at the end of chapter 2 as well, you don't go to a restaurant and watch people eat to see if you're going to enjoy the food. You've really just got to get in there and try it. Come on down, try out the Old Republic. This is going to be a big year for Star Wars, especially with The Force Awakens opening up in December. Get in there and try it. It is so much fun, and the game is now free to play. But you can do, if you click on my new friend subscriber link, the referral link below, you'll get a little bit of game time and some goodies to start you on your way. And I encourage you to do so and come on in and say hi. So that's all I've got for you. I'll let you guys watch out for the rest of the video. But take care, and we will see you again in Chapter 4 coming up shortly. Thanks, guys.
You got 5 years of galactic helicopter. HJ, make yourself useful. Check the stabilizers.
5 years.
Please! There was no way I could possibly... Oh! you awaiting instruction?
The Outlander.
No. He's gone.
Gone. I don't care what it takes. I want him found.